Alright, what's up? I am Brad the Mad Lad, and welcome to my channel. So, this is a new video series that I'm trying out just for fun. See if it's, something that I actually enjoy doing. And the simple concept is, it stems from the fact that I grew up with a dog shit computer. I mean, absolute trash. Like, this thing could barely render a picture of a potato in Blender. So I ended up spending a hell of a lot of time playing older games. So you know what, I thought, let's just have some fun with it, revisiting all the games that I used to play, because while I was busy playing Resident Evil 4, all of my friends were busy playing GTA 5. So yeah, life was not great. While everyone else was busy playing Assassin's Creed Rogue, I only had the second Assassin's Creed. But you know what? That one I'm not that mad about. Anyway, so when the idea here is that I will be visiting older games and just seeing if they still hold up. So now I'll be running it on my Xbox Series S. Yes, I got the bag now. But I still prefer to play those older games compared to what's coming out now. So I'm just giving you my thoughts on it. I will avoid all spoilers. I'll just give you the general idea of what's going on without delving too deeply into the story. With that said, let's talk about the story. So here's the basic summary. This is all about Batman Arkham Asylum. This game came out in 2009, but I will be using the footage from the 2016 version and just giving you some basic comparisons. The only real difference would just simply be the graphical bump up. So otherwise it's more or less the same game, which I honestly appreciate. So the basic summary is Batman has now just captured the Joker. He's taking him straight to Arkham Asylum, and just as they arrive into the prison, that's when the Joker springs a trap. You see, he had planned for all this, and he has plans to use the venom, not the symbiote, the drug that Bane uses to create an army of monsters, and it's up to Batman to stop him. So it's a very basic premise, and it actually holds through very well, especially with the way the story unfolds and explains a lot of the monsters and enemies you deal with. Something that I truly appreciate about the game is no monster or enemy is wasted. Everyone you deal with makes sense as to why they're after you, why you're fighting this kind of enemy. They use the story to explain the enemies. You'd be surprised just how few games manage to do that. Anyway, so first things first, let's look at the graphics. So the graphics are actually pretty good considering the time. Even if you're looking at the remaster, it's not the greatest, but it works for what it's trying to be. You see, the graphics are actually pretty solid, and you won't see any of the motion blur start to blend in like you do with most older games. You also won't find them having weird hairstyles that are stiff and spindly. You will find that mostly in anime type games. Their hair is smooth and nice and flourishing, You can especially see it on the character models for Harley Quinn, who her hair looks amazing, and you can actually even see it in Batman's armor. Something I really appreciate is that after every major fight, you will notice small scars and tears in Batman's armor. You will see that certain parts of his clothing are ripped apart, just are tearing at the seams and just aren't what they used to be. And that's actually very nice and much appreciated. What else? Let's see. You can also see that I think the only character model that I don't quite like would be Joker's, because out of all the people, especially Joker, he just doesn't look quite right. I think it's just the makeup on his face looking almost like old painting, but also maybe that's the point. I don't know. But it's more of a personal thing. I just never really liked that facial design of Joker, but the character design is actually one of my favorites. Whenever I think Joker, that's who I picture, no other. It's just more or less the texture around his facial paint that I don't quite like. It just doesn't look right. The weird thing is they managed to get this perfect for Harley, but not Joker himself. Weird. Anyway, also the color grading is amazing. Although you will see that the backdrops are clearly just huge, flat walls with pictures on them, they managed to make them look just 3D enough that you can't tell. But if you actually start to break the bounds and you get there, I'm quite sure you'll find that it's just a flat piece of wall. The thing I really appreciate is that the graphics don't downgrade that much, especially in the remaster, don't downgrade that much when you are gliding in the air. You see, a thing with most old games, you'll see this especially in Skyrim, whenever you are far away from an object, its texture decreases heavily and very noticeably. But when you get closer, the texture starts to increase in quality and so on and so forth. The game actually manages to prevent that from being such a huge issue. I think the only other game I've seen get this right would be the Tomb Raider series, but honestly, considering this game was made by Rocksteady, it makes perfect sense. Okay, the gameplay is solid but slow. One of my biggest gripes with this game is that whenever you are fighting any enemies, it feels as if you're moving through molasses. It feels like Batman's just a few steps too slow. I think maybe it's just because I spend so much time playing fast-paced games like Tekken and Street Fighter and sometimes Call of Duty. But yeah, the man feels very, very slow. Mind you, I've played these Arkham games years ago, but revisiting them, especially this one, he feels like he is just a few steps behind what I'm thinking, and so do the enemies. I think maybe it's just because at the time, computers just couldn't run characters moving that fast and that often, and also keeping the AI up to date. So they just made them all slower. But honestly, like, it could use a bit of a booster pack when it comes to speed. Maybe one of my other issues is that I'm comparing it to games like Devil May Cry, for example, Devil May Cry 4, which came out, I believe, in 2005. And, well, that game was very, very fast compared to this. In fact, it even had a turbo mode to make the game faster. Mind you, I'm not the kind of person who really cares about games being extremely quick and button mashy. In fact, I personally hate that. That's why, although I love the music and character design of a game like Skullgirls, I am never touching that nonsense because honestly, that game's too quick. Like, it feels like you're not even thinking anymore, you're just clicking as fast as possible. That's not really fun for me. But even with this game, even I feel slow. So I can just imagine how another person who cares about game speed would feel. But otherwise, I would say that the gameplay is rather well balanced. So first, let's look at Batman himself. The beauty of playing Batman is you need gadgets, you need toys, you need trinkets, you need the Batarang, you need the bat-shaped explosives, you need the bat grappling hook. You know, it's all about the toys. And they deliver. Like, honestly, they really deliver with this aspect. You get a grappling hook, you get a Batarang that you can control, although honestly, I didn't really use it that much. My bigger problem is that you get most of the good stuff close to the end of the game. But I believe that the purpose behind this is so that you can jump back into the initial sections of the game and just replay it with all the gadgets already unlocked, which I did end up doing, and I had a lot more fun using all the gadgets and all the trinkets and toys. And yeah, honestly, they really deliver. I'll try to avoid telling you too much about them because honestly, I want you to have fun with discovering it yourself. But for the most part, they really do deliver when it comes to the gadgets. You get a total of 8 different gadgets with all their unique functions, and the best part is, all of them can be used in combat. That is something that I really appreciate. They're not just puzzle tools, they are combat tools as well. You can use, for example, the grappling hook. You can use it to grab enemies and pull them closer, but you can also use them to pull down rafters and pull down walls so that enemies can fall and get knocked out. Or you can use them as an escape tool. Then you also have the remote control Batarang. You can use it to knock out 5 enemies all in a row if you can control that thing. But also, you can use it so that you can hit particular targets that are hard to hit, like, for example, buttons that will activate machines and puzzles. The only real gripe I have would be that one very specific gadget that kind of let me down was the Bat Explosive, the explosive gel. You see, when I saw this thing, my initial thought was, oh, maybe since this thing packs a punch, and even in the item description, it tells you that it packs a punch. So I was like, oh, maybe I can use this to set up traps. And the game even encourages this kind of thinking, because later on you get an ability that will set off the charger without you manually activating it. And manually activating it is a rather slow process, because Batman needs to first take out the thing and then activate it. You can't quick activate it while moving around. It's kind of difficult, or more accurately, awkward. But yeah, so you even end up getting an ability that will allow you to explode this thing without having to do it manually. So you would think, oh, if I set up these charges, I can set one up and instantly knock out an enemy. Not quite. You see, when they will be knocked down, but you will have to manually go to that person and knock them out. And that takes time. My goodness, does it take time to knock out a dude. Because not only do you have to get to him, you have to jump on him, and then he holds the man for a second and then punches him. Then he gets up. Mind you, the moment he starts that punch animation, you cannot counterattack. You can't counterattack. Do you have any idea how detrimental that is when everyone you knock down gets up quickly? So if I knock down, let's say 3 people, by the time I'm about to punch out one guy, everyone is already awake and on top of me and are about to punch me. And since I'm already in the punch animation, I'm almost guaranteed to get punched myself. Which is not good because I have a limited amount of HP. Mind you, it also takes time for you to set up these charges because Batman needs to take the thing out, go down on the floor, draw a bat symbol, and then walk out. It is a very strenuous process. So I'm sure you are also thinking, oh, why don't you just set it up somewhere far away, somewhere where an enemy cannot actually, get to you while you're trying to knock out the person. It's a bomb, my G. It is a bomb. What do you think happens when you explode a bomb in a small room filled with people with guns? You get shot. These men have switches and no aimbot. Everybody catching strays. Anyway, so honestly, that really pissed me off that it doesn't knock them out for longer. And I have the same issue with the Batarang because it also tells you, hey, you can throw a Batarang and knock out a person. But again, they get up almost instantly. I think the only truly useful one would be the triple Batarang. But I don't use that to knock down enemies. I just use them to keep busy. So I'll knock down everyone else and then go after the person that I actually want to knock out, which would be specific types of enemies. But for the most part, it's just a bit of a letdown in that regard, but everything else works out fine. Okay, on to the enemies. Okay, so for the enemies, you have a few types. You have fighters, weapons users, blazemen, gunners, electric batons, ogres, and bosses. Mind you, these aren't the official names, these are just the simple names I use so that it's easier to keep track of who's who. So, the fighters are the henchmen. They are just brawlers with big muscles who rush at you and punch every 2 seconds. They are relatively slow and easy to deal with, just 3 hits and they're down. And then you have to jump on them and manually knock them out. The only time they become a problem will be when you're dealing with more than one, especially if more than one is very close. That's where all of the different button inputs come into play, and you can use your dodge mechanic or use your tools to knock them all down, which is actually a very clever system. Then you have the weapon users. These are usually people who pick up a crowbar or baseball bat and you have to first disarm them, or you can just straight up beat the life out of them, and then do the Now talk. Gag. Anyway, so the beautiful thing is fighters can promote themselves. Think of them like pawns in a chess game. Yes, they're the weak ones who can't move much and are relatively easy to deal with. But if you make a mistake, they can catch you off guard. And the beautiful thing about them is, at any point, a pawn can become a queen. You understand? These guys can promote themselves to just about any of the other opponents that you'll find in the game. So, for example, a fighter with no arms can instantly become a bladesman. Sorry, not bladesman, a weapons user, by just picking up a weapon. And if you knock out a weapon user, you think, oh, I don't have to deal with that guy anymore. But no, a fighter will immediately run and grab that weapon and promote themselves. Now they're doing more damage. See? So, then you have the bladesmen. These are specialized fighters. They're able to block all of Batman's moves, and their main purpose is to actually remove your times counter. So whenever you try to punch them and they block it, your times counter will come down and you'll do not only less damage, but you'll move slower and you won't be able to access your special combos like your instant takedowns and grabs. Then, the other thing about them is they do a lot of damage. They're able to do combo attacks. One combo attack from them can chew up almost half or maybe even a quarter of your HP. Then you have the gunners. I hate the gunners. This game really makes you feel just how hard it is to fight a guy with a gun when you don't have one yourself. Gunners are very, very hard to fight. I did discover that throwing batarangs at them kind of helps you make them a bit more manageable, but thanks to a bit of gameplay jank, it's a bit difficult to do the aiming. Maybe it's just me who's having a bit of trouble, but I found it quite hard to make sure that I always hit the right target when especially I'm fighting 20 guys. Sometimes Batman would throw the batarang at the wrong people and not the gunner, and then I get 3 bullets to the cheek. Anyway, so yeah, gunners, they are usually people who pick up a gun, and it's normally shotguns or assault rifles. And once again, fighters can become gunners. The only other class that a fighter cannot become would be a bladesman or an orc, or ogre, or boss, obviously. So every other class, they are able to permit themselves into. So in other words, if you take down a gunner because they're top priority, they can shoot at you, you could take them down, and a fighter will just run up and pick up the gun. So you have to be very, very alert when you're fighting. You cannot let your attention slip, because if you let your attention slip, you're gonna die. Anyway, so that's the next class. Then you have electric batons. These are usually guys who pick up the cattle prods and they'll hold them up towards you. The thing is, you can't punch them. If you punch them, you're gonna take damage, and that's what they're hoping for. You see, they will usually hide within the crowd and just hold the weapon up to you. And then you'll see them coming up, and your immediate knee-jerk reaction is to try and punch them, which will end up with you getting an electric shot and losing some HP. What you have to do is you have to jump behind them and then punch them. So in other words, that's another class that you need to be very careful of. And again, fighters can promote themselves into these. Now you have the special classes. These are the ogres. These are usually, these are the ones that are mostly story related. Thanks to Joker looking for the venom, the venom poison, he's pumping them into some of the warriors, and he's using them as giant monstrous fighters. You cannot punch these guys most of the time. You need to first dodge them and then use batarangs to make them run into walls, which is actually a rather clever system, because what the game does is it will give you a mixture of these enemies and allow you to think strategically. Which enemy do I take down? Which enemies do I focus on? How do I use this move? Do I use that move? Do I set up bombs and then make the ogre rush towards them, then explode the bomb when it gets close? Do I rather use the batarang to make him rush into walls and start hitting his own opponents? You see, the more you think about it, the better your combat goes. So again, you have to pay very, very close attention. Without paying attention, you're gonna get got. Then you have the last one. These are the, for lack of better terms, the psychos. These guys, they are too far gone, they can't think very well, and they're very easy to knock out. Just a single punch and they're down. In fact, if you see them coming, it's very easy to counter them and immediately knock them out. Most of the time they come in pairs of 2 or 1. And well, because they're very easy to take down, they're also some of the scariest. You see, they will sneak up on you and they will not make a sound if you're not directly looking at them. I swear to God, they are taking inspiration from the Walking Dead zombies. They will not make a noise until they're right up your ear telling you, hey, I likes ya and I wants ya. So we can do this the easy way, or we can do this the hard way. The choice is yours. No, I do not like dealing with them. They are a nightmare. But they also make the game fun. The beautiful thing is they don't typically show up in the groups with other monsters or other fighters, because they will just go ahead and start attacking everyone else. You see, they attack anything that moves. So thank God I don't have to deal with them and normal fighters, because they rush up to you and grab you, and once you're grabbed, you're done. You're in a lot of trouble and you have to button mash to get out of it. Next, you have the bosses. My goodness, they cooked with the bosses. The beautiful thing is, your first boss that you fight is Bane. And Bane, he kind of sets the tone for what the game is going to be about, especially when it comes to the ogre types. He's just your typical ogre type, and he'll show you how to deal with them. It's basically your tutorial boss, but he gives you enough of a challenge to allow you to feel really like you're in danger. If you mess up too many times, you're gonna get caught. And then you also have Harley Quinn's boss fight, which is mostly just you running around and dealing with multiple opponent types. She doesn't really throw any of the juggernauts at you, but she does land a lot of tricks, and actually the boss fight was kind of fun. Then you also have Poison Ivy and Killer Croc's boss fights, which Killer Croc, he uses a similar tactic as to Bane, and you have to now use all of your tools to try and get the sneak up on him. But I'm not going to spoil too much, because again, I want you to experience it for yourself. Then, so that should cover all of the bosses. Next would be the jank. The jank, look, old games have jank. It's just a given. Every single old game has some kind of jank that you're just like, I see why no one does this anymore. And for me, first and foremost, running around. You see, when you're running around, you have to hold the A button. And it tries to mimic the idea of how Batman runs in the animated series and movies, where the camera's right behind him and he's covering a good chunk of the screen. Which is all well and good, but it's not so much fun when you are trying to run away from opponents and everybody's shooting at you. I need to see as much of the screen as possible in those moments, so I'd appreciate if the camera was a little bit further back, but that's just life. And it feels a bit stiff. For example, there's certain areas where you feel that you should be able to grapple to, or you should at least have the option to, but it's just not there. And also you have to manually look in the direction of where you want to grapple to, which is something they ended up fixing in the later games, where they allowed you to grapple just about anywhere as long as you see the icon for grappling. I don't have to manually look where I'm grappling. In other words, I can blind grapple to just get out of combat and then use the distance to jump back in at a more manageable state. And honestly, I'll explain how this becomes a bigger problem later on in the game. Then you have unexplained puzzles. My goodness, this is a pet peeve of mine. Thing is, I grew up on Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider was my bread and butter video game. So believe you me when I say I love puzzles. Puzzles are some of my favorite parts of video games. I just love it when a game tries to test your smarts using in-game mechanics so that you can figure out how to get past an issue. What I don't like is when a puzzle does not give you the right amount of information. When you are in a scenario and you just get yourself stuck somewhere without being given the direct solution. Note to self, give examples later, Bradley. Anyway, then there's also the map check, where the map, it doesn't give you quite enough detail as to where to go. I know, quest markers are for pussies, I know everyone likes to think that, but it kind of helps when, you're in an area where you're supposed to walk back and retrace your steps constantly. Just to have at least just a decent marker telling you just your general direction, that would be nice. That would be really nice. The funny thing is they got this perfect in the other levels. For example, when you're hunting down the doctors, they immediately tell you exactly where the doctors are, but they're in blank areas. So you have to figure out which route is the fastest to get to them. And then as you open the doors, you get the map of that area. Very nice, very well put together. They don't do that often enough. Anyway. Oh yeah, folks, like just a small example. During the Harley Quinn boss fight, there's a section when she runs away, and I got completely confused, thinking that she went one way, thinking that she had left the building, but no, she went into a secret pathway that was blocked off, and I had to use the hacker tools to break in. Yeah. Then next part, the Riddler puzzles. Fuck the Riddler puzzles. Fuck Riddler, fuck everything that he stands for. I hate his puzzles, because his puzzles are designed around one simple thing. Already knowing what the answer is. Like, a lot of them are kind of simple and just giving you a general hint as to what's going on. But because of how it's all phrased and the fact that you're in an open world, you don't know where to look. You can have a puzzle telling you something generalized. Like, for example, the puzzle when he's talking about the seesaw puzzle, right? When he's talking about that, you are in a wide open area with a lot of sections to go. Maybe I'm just the problem and I just suck at it, but honestly, it felt more annoying than anything, and I just didn't feel any want to even try to solve it. Which I did try. I gave it a solid 30 minutes and eventually I put it together. But honestly, it did not feel good figuring it out. It just felt like I was completing homework, But finding his trophies was actually kind of a fun side activity to do while I'm completing the game. Whenever I figured out where they were, it felt nice. Which, is the whole point of video games, to make you feel nice. Okay, highlights for the game. My biggest highlight would be that this game makes you feel like Batman. That is very rare to do, to make you really feel like you are the character they're trying to make you play. Many games try this and fail miserably. For example, if you look at some of the older Batman games, it feels like you're just playing through an episode of the cartoon, but it never really puts you in his shoes. It never really makes you feel as if this is the Dark Knight and you are playing the Dark Knight. Honestly, Kevin Conroy does an amazing job voice acting him, and the man was taken from us too soon. He does an amazing job voicing him and making you really feel that this is the Dark Knight. One of my favorite parts were when he discovers that a certain character is dead and he has to tell that character's daughter what happened to the guy. And you can feel the hurt in his voice. You can feel the sadness there. Of course, later on it's revealed to just be a scarecrow nightmare, but throughout most of it, he's so stoic and straightforward, but during that moment, he puts in so much vulnerability. He's still stoic, he's still Batman, but you can hear just a slight bit of sadness in there, and it hits hard. Even when he is just generally doing missions, you will always see him first say, "I need to save people." He will prioritize saving lives over taking down the bad guy, and that is amazing. Like, not even the Spider-Man games get that right. Most of the time when you're playing a Spider-Man game, you're not really there to save people. You're here to take down the bad guy, which isn't really a dig at the game. It's just how most superhero games are. They're there for action. But Batman, his first, especially in the Arkham games, his first reaction is, oh, this person's in danger. I need to get them out of there as quickly as possible and then go back to task. You know? And and the thing is, that would be a thought that goes through my head. Like, even in the newer games, there was a whole scene where I saw a lady just being dragged around and she was tossed over because she just couldn't heal another character. Again, trying to avoid any spoilers. And she gets taken away to be killed. Brutally. And my first thought was, oh, okay, I guess maybe it's going to be an option for me to see if I can go and save her. But no, it wasn't an option, because if I don't go and save her, then I'm not playing Batman anymore. I'm playing someone else. I'm playing my Batman. Or another example, in the actual game itself, there was a puzzle where you had to drop one of the inmates in a vat of Joker venom so that you can break through a certain wall. At the time, you did not have the bat explosive gel, but now so to make up for it, you have to drop this prisoner through a huge glass wall so that you can open the area and hit the button to open air vents. And when I did this, Batman's first reaction was, okay, I can't leave this man in there too long because he's going to die. I have to hurry up. And you actually get a short timer quickly. So, I really appreciate these small, tiny details of how he talks and thinks, because it makes him feel like Batman. And that is one of my favorite aspects of this game. Then you have that level. Look, we all have it. Whenever it comes to old games, there will always be that level. The level that will make you hate the game. The level that will make you second guess ever playing the game again. You will forget about it for a while, but eventually you will come back to the game, start playing again, get to that section and just be like, yeah. And for me, that level is intensive treatment lobby area. Whoever came up with that section, screw you. I hate your guts. You are evil. So, the basic gist of this level is Joker has realized that you're using gargoyles to take enemies out from the top. You see, gargoyles are one of your best assets because when you're on them, you're practically invisible. These idiots, they almost never look up. So as long as you stay on the gargoyles, you'll most likely be fine. Just keep moving and make sure that no one from too far below ever sees you from a distance, because then they're almost guaranteed to notice you. But yeah, gargoyles are basically your bread and butter when it comes to stealth takedowns. So Joker starts setting up bombs on the gargoyles. So if you stay on the gargoyles too long, the gargoyles will explode and you'll fall on the ground, it will make noise, and the enemies will be alerted. But wait, there's more. The enemies also have collars on them where if their heart rate slows down too much, it will let out an alert. The reason why is because they're in a psych ward. If they try to take their own lives, it will make their heart rate will slow down, it will make noise, and the security guards will come after the body to try and collect them, to save their life. Now it's used against you. You see, remember, like I said, really makes you feel like it uses the world, the setting to explain game mechanics. Mwah! French kiss, beautiful. But in this level, it's really used to a level of fuckery I can't deal with. Anyway, so you will have these. So if you take these enemies down, everyone will notice that the person has been taken down. It takes about maybe half a second for the thing to start making noise and buzzing, but it will happen. So to give you a basic recap, we have gargoyles that explode. So they end up setting up giant explosions all over the gargoyles, so that if you stand on it, it will explode. Now you also have enemies that will alert everyone whenever they are knocked down after about a few seconds. Then all of them have guns. And I'll tell you this much, they do not miss. They have some of the best aimbot I've ever seen. Like, I swear these guys are hacking. If they went into Call of Duty, they're getting headshots all day. And you have varied levels within the area. And if you die, you restart. My goodness, was this hell on earth to do. Like, it wasn't the worst level I've ever played. It's not that extreme, but it really did piss me off playing that level, because they take away every advantage you could possibly have except your ability to vent. Going down vents is the only thing you have over them. And don't you even dare say you can just knock them out with the bomb. Remember what I said earlier? If you use the explosive gel, it's not gonna work for very long. They'll get up, and the moment they get up, they know exactly where you are, and they're gonna hunt you down. And then you'll say, oh, but I could just grapple up to somewhere safe. Where? Where is safe? Please elaborate. Where is safe? Because if you get to the gargoyles, they're gonna explode. At first I thought, oh, maybe as long as I keep moving, like the gargoyles will only explode if I stay on them too long. No, they will explode the moment I touch them. The moment I touch them, a timer starts and they'll explode in a few seconds. And again, once they explode, everyone's looking up now, so I can't stay on the gargoyles very long. And there's only one vent, and that vent leads straight to the main room. And guess what Joker does the moment they find out that someone is messing around in their base? He will tell them to all gather in the main room, the section with the vents, the one place you can actually hide. And they'll wait there for a bit and then leave, leaving one guy there, which gives you a short period of time to knock about, but he is standing there with his back to the wall. So you are going to get hit, and you think, oh, maybe I can use the Batarang. You can't, because you haven't unlocked but most likely the first time you're getting to that level, you have not unlocked the remote control Batarang. So you just have the normal one. So you have to stand at a corner and try and hit him, but you can't lean on the corner because there's stuff in the way. You see what I mean by fucky? Like, every single piece of what you can do has a but. Moving on. The final boss. Okay, without giving out any spoilers, I'll be honest, the final boss was a bit underwhelming. I didn't like the idea that they went for, because it just felt like the Bane boss fight rehashed, except with a different skin and a few extra things here and there. But for the most part, it was just the Bane boss fight, which was a little disappointing, because the Ivy boss fight was amazing. The Ivy boss fight was very well put together, and I loved it. Yeah, it was a bit gimmicky, but, well, it's it's a comic book video game. What do you expect? It's gonna have gimmicky boss fights. That's kind of the flair, you know? But yeah, the final boss fight was a bit underwhelming, but who cares anymore, you know? Yeah, I had fun doing it. My overall score is very good. Like, the game was very well put together. I loved many of the fights I had to do. I enjoyed so much of it. And I had fun. That's the key thing. I enjoyed the fact that they made you feel like you were, in fact, Batman. They made you feel like you were playing in Gotham. They made you make the kinds of choices that Batman would make. Every single enemy you fought made sense as to why they are there. You know, they're not just there to be an enemy type. They're there to explain the world. They are there for world building. They are there to show you what it means. It's just like how in Skyrim, the Stormcloaks have the worst armor out of all the armies. And that's because they have scrunched together armors. Their armors aren't like proper, they're just for security guards. They're not meant for war. But the Imperials, they have been fighting wars for a long time. That's why they have so many types of armors. And just generally their armor has better defenses. Same concept here. Every single enemy, from the gunners, weapons users, bladesmen, fighters, ogres, the sneakers, everyone makes sense. Everyone explains why it's going on, why it happens. and I love that fact. I enjoyed this game a lot, and I am giving this a solid 8 out of 10. This game aged like vintage wine. Mwah, beautiful.